Hello, everybody. For those of you, I think everybody or most people do know me, but if anybody doesn't know me, I'm Jim Welsh. And for the last 4 years, I've been the Safeguarding Representative here in St. Benedict's. For the last 2 years, I've been joined by Makalita Kautoke, and she's evolved. She sort of manages the DBSs now. She does a superb job in chasing those up. It's very important that parishioners know who the safeguarding reps are. But can I just say, if anyone does have an issue, just get in touch with the parish office, and within 24 hours, in less than 24 hours, I will always get back to you if there's any sort of issue. So first of all, it's important to say that there have been no allegations in this parish. In fact, in the last 4 years, on my watch, there have been no allegations. It's important that parishioners know that. We don't just sort of knit our own curriculum or knit our own job description. We really work quite closely with the overarching, the Catholic Safeguarding Standards Agency with their new standards. And we write a development plan in September, and then we present it to the Safeguarding Committee, which Father Ambrose mentioned 2 minutes ago, almost for their imprimatur before we proceed. In addition, we work very closely with the diocese. We're working for the diocese. Also, may I make quite clear, and I usually do that, I'm only talking about the parish. So on this site, you have the school, the parish, and the monastery. Father Timothy is the safeguarding rep for the monastery. One of the deputies is the safeguarding rep for the school, St. Benedict's. So I'm really only talking about the parish. And it's the biggest parish in the diocese. And as Daniel's just said, there's a huge amount going on from a catechetical program. On an average year, there's 100 people make the First Holy Communion. There's 60 people, making the confirmation. There's RCIA. There's an awful lot of volunteers working and need to be DBS'd. And they come up again every 3 years for recycling. And you're chasing references. There's a huge amount of admin that nobody knows about. So, as I said, we work with the monastery, we work with the deanery. So once a term, we stopped during COVID, but we started again where the different parishes from Acton to Southall, we come and meet and we just discuss and share our concerns or communications with the diocese, whatever. But very, very helpful because in some parishes, the safeguarding rep's working alone. And sometimes they don't know what to, they run a home and they have a full-time job and they just fit in safeguarding. And sometimes they do, double figures of hours per week, chasing things up. So it's great to have that networking in the deanery. That's a big help. The development plan, it's a bit boring for me to go through, but can I just outline some of the main points? So first of all, safeguarding records. All safeguarding records are kept by the parish secretary. I don't know whether Robert knows that yet, but they're under lock and key in a safe in the parish office, and we can be inspected. These new rules that came out, we should have an audit every 3 years where they look at, all our records. So, for example, just before Christmas, I observed 3 lessons, catechetical lessons of First Holy Communion and adult RCIA. So I went in there and, I fill in the right forms and then they're deposited in the parish office. That's just an example of how all records are kept securely there. Procedures to be DBS'd. At the very, very beginning, if Daniel manages to corral someone into becoming a volunteer, they have to have a safeguarding interview, first of all, and that Father Ambrose chairs that, and I'm present, and Daniel's usually present. And for half an hour to 45 minutes, the person has a safeguarding interview. And it's just, after that, they fill in the forms, and then we take up references, then they go to the diocese, and it takes months. But we are very careful and very thorough over the whole procedure. Just because this is our parish, our families matter very much. You cannot be complacent when it comes to safeguarding. I don't want to be dramatic or anything, but for example, I went home at Christmas. I come from Newcastle, And I was alarmed by what our school friends were talking to me about and what was bubbling up in the cathedral in Newcastle. I was really quite upset and shocked. And I don't know the half of it. And concurrently, there are 4 investigations going on at the moment. And ICSA said to us, you cannot be complacent. The Catholic Church was criticised for being complacent, among other things. And I know it's boring, but I do bang on about complacency, and I include myself in that. So linked with that is the word vigilance. We're all invited to be vigilant. And I don't mean in a dramatic way, but just calmly in the parish, when you're going about your business, just use your common sense. And if anything concerns you, speak to me or speak to the parish priest or Daniel, and we would look into something. So I'm not being dramatic, but it's all a responsibility. So a chain is only as good as its weakest link. So it's all a responsibility. It's our parish. We all have to do a little bit. And I think we have a strong parish. We have a healthy parish. And you can't take that for granted. You know, you have to be vigilant all the time in a measured way, you know, in a proportionate way. So as Father Ambrose said, I report to the parish team, you know, about 2 or 3 times a year, and have to give an account of safeguarding. And that's with 2 head teachers and the recent retired Deputy Director of Social Services in Edinburgh, you know, and that's good. That keeps me on my toes. Instead of just, you know, it's very easy just to plough your own furrow, but they challenge you and they put what you do or what your action plan is under the microscope. And that's excellent. Quality assurance, I've just told you, everything we do, you know, you can say you have a policy, but I mean, does it actually happen? So quality assurance, so whether it's use of the corridor, whether it's lesson observations, we carry out quality assurance all the time. Even keeping records. I used to say to Maggie, I'm coming in next Tuesday at 2 o'clock and I'm going to go through the records. I need to find out that it's under lock and key in the safe and they're there, etc. It's the same with Daniel. I asked Daniel, I'm going to observe these lessons. And he arranges with the catechists that I'm coming in. So quality assurance is very, very important in any institution. It's easy to have policies. It's easy to have an action plan. But you've jolly well got to carry it out and you've got to check that it is happening. So here it's in Benedict's, I can assure you, there is quality assurance and it does happen. Training every year in the autumn term, we train new volunteers or anybody who wishes to. So some people, because of the employment, there might be teachers, there might be nurses, every year they have training through their employment in safeguarding. They probably know much more than I do. But for those who don't, those who are in commerce or industry or whatever, they're delighted to have training. And we did that on October the 5th. On Saturday, we carried out training for new volunteers for this academic year. The corridor just here, we installed closed-circuit television. So we had to have a policy, we had to have terms and conditions and references, etc. So can I just say, what are our desired outcomes to conclude? First of all, I would just like to have a parish awareness. In other words, there's a culture of safeguarding. So if I mention safeguarding, I don't sound like a mutant. You know, I'm in a healthy parish where people understand what the word means and understand its importance, etc. We need a culture of safeguarding in our parishes. It's supposed in schools, hospitals. It's routine now. I would like as many people as possible to agree to do the training online, Educare. It's very easy to do. It doesn't take long. You just ask at the parish office to do it and they'll give you the number. I've just mentioned proportionate vigilance. In not a dramatic way, just to be quietly vigilant whenever you're on the parish site. And no, I'll draw a line there. So forgive me for if I've ever repeated myself or you know most of what I said, because a lot of people do now. What I'm coming across now quite a lot, and that's new to me, is gender dysphoria issues. I had lunch last Wednesday with my old PA, who's still in my school. And she said there were 3 people in the school, and there were 2 before then. And I've seen just the news and things have come up in schools where, you know, people have made, it's all new to me. I've never met anybody, etc. So that's an agenda item in a week's time. And on our agenda, what would it mean if somebody approached Daniel for a lesson and says, from now on, I wish to be called, or I wish to use these loos. I don't want my parents to be informed I'm under 16. There are lots of things. It's all new to me, but we need to have a discussion. What does it mean? I think some institutions, some schools are sort of like much further advanced than us. Certainly for me, it's brand new. I know very little about it at the moment. Thanks, everybody.